welcome to the Inside Line Racing League, round 17 of season 6 here at the Suzuka circuit in Japan. And we've got the 4th tier of the Inside Line Racing League. A decent sized grid of 18 drivers, must be said, at a damp Suzuka. So this is going to be interesting, of course. Suzuka always famed for having quite unpredictable and changeable conditions for the drivers to deal with. So that's going to be a lot of fun, certainly, to go through. So anyway, obviously now that's a bit of a curveball for these drivers. They're going to have to adjust their setups, adjust their driving, and essentially do anything that's necessary to to perform at their best. And obviously, I'm not sure about what we're going to have, what the race will entail in terms of weather. But we're just going to have to wait and see. It's going to be a fascinating one for sure. So anyway there, I'm just getting the championship standings up quickly. We've got Don Rajib, if that's how you pronounce it. I'm so sorry if that's not. I believe it's the first car out on track, so we'll just follow him and see how he gets to grips with these wet conditions. Of course, some of these drivers may not have practiced the wet, so, and of course with the different setups that people are going to be using, it makes for some very interesting stuff, certainly. Because we could see a grid that's a little bit separated from the norm. Of course, people like our championship leader, ILRT Leon, you know, he could be under a bit of pressure there if he doesn't get things together. So, yeah, certainly a lot that can go on, certainly. So, looking forward to this. Anyway, Don Rajib, currently sitting P11 in the standings. Hasn't finished the last 2 races, so he's going to be looking for some better fortune, as I didn't mean to do that, sorry. Right, what am I doing? There we go, okay. It's been a first time commentating for a while, guys, but yeah, the Mercedes man looking to start his lap, and we'll see how he gets on. We're just going to open out that, there we go. So you see he's fully RS to play with. So yeah, this is going to be good fun. I'm looking forward to this one. As Mercedes uses as much of the track as he can on entry, try and get the exit C immediately there. Bit of a struggle on traction, and of course having to adapt to these wet conditions is going to be a challenge for even the most skilled and brave of drivers. Here we go now, Don Rajib, the Mercedes man, going into turn 1, and on the brakes there, it dabs it into 3rd gear, try and rotate the car back up to 4th though, because you need to try and find that traction in these treacherous wet conditions. Of course, it's not the absolute worst, certainly. You know, you could have a full wet circuit, for example, but still a suitable challenge, especially at a track like Suzuka. And you can see, oh, Don Rajib getting onto a bit of a slide there through the famed Suzuka S's, and of course the elephant's in sector 3. I'm not sure about what's going on there, but thankfully no one out the session just so far. I'm hoping not to commentator curse it right away. And Don Rajib continues on his way around. So, down into the braking zone, bit deep there, and he's got to short shift immediately to get the best traction he can. Just trying to take it in a straight line. This turn can actually be a little bit challenging if you can just get aquaplaning at high speeds, if you're not careful, but nice and smooth from Don Rajib, keeping this, big slide through spin, and that's going to set him offline. That's going to cost him a heap of time. Of course, these drivers probably running on heavier fuel loads than usual, potentially, just to try and dial into these conditions as well as they can. Of course, we don't know, it might dry up later on in the session. As you can see, he takes a lot of curbs there at 130R, and now derating actually at the end of the lap, so he's not going to have that extra 160 horsepower on the run up to the line. That could cost him dear, and he comes through, and we'll see the time that's set down. It's a 142 dead, and he goes to the top for now. But of course we got more laps coming, certainly. Just looking to see who, I believe Larkin in the Renault. He's up behind the Williams actually. That could compromise him, and see him really feathering the throttle on the up to the line. Of course, over that bump, very treacherous. And of course I think we're going to have the next couple of cars to cross the line, and neither of them going particularly quick actually. So I was going to say track conditions are slowing down, but carriage makes me completely eat my words, doing a 41.2, and you see rain still falling down. So these enters, I'd say it is a very yeah, we are in a good place, certainly, for these enters. They do look to be in good nick. You see Iceman goes just behind in the other Mercedes car. So we've got 8 times on the board right now. Tells me that, you know, the conditions may well stick like this, to be honest. If people want to get those times in straight away, they'd want to just, you know, get them in as quickly as possible. Maybe it will rain heavier and times will be able to set as a Les Killer. He goes quickest, the Renault man, and goes to the top of the timesheets with a 40.4, and just ahead of Leon actually with a 40.5. Of course, these guys are, well, they're not exactly championship rivals actually. Les Killer. Actually, I'm thinking maybe, I'm not sure if that is who I think it was. I might have to get clarified because I'm seeing the names on the ILRT website. So he could be you know, someone like Chaz. I'm quite uninformed there, but he goes just ahead of Leon, and looking good for the moment. Regardless, we have got Paul coming over the line there. Does 2:04, not particularly a quick lap. Must have been a mistake in the middle of it. So we've got a few cars still hanging back. We've got Josh, Skyzy, Cooper. They're all hanging back in the pits for now. Looking to potentially set times later. See, Konzo gets a big slide on as a Terror Racer does a 40 dead. Goes to the top of the timesheet. So impressive stuff from him in the Red Bull. So things looking fairly uneventful so far, and no retirements, which is always good to see in a wet quali. So yeah, we're looking good for the moment. Konza now exiting the spoon curve. We're gonna get this on here, and we're gonna go on board with him. Here we go now into 130R. Very tricky corner. See, it lifts completely off. Josh has gone out of session. Hopefully he can get back in. Because obviously we want to see as full a grid as possible. Konzo, bit of understeer around that final corner. He gets a bit of oversteer over the bump as well. So up to the line there, and he does a 41 dead, which puts him in the top 5. So I think he'll be happy with that. Potentially track conditions just lifting a bit. As you can see, we've still got Leon, championship leader, running around. We'll watch him for a lap then. Hopefully, he's got the engine turned up, so I'm assuming that he's on for a hot lap here, and thankfully Josh has got back in. That's good to see. As you can see, the Williams running around and keeping it very clean on that inside line. You see 2/10 up as well on his lap, so we're looking good for the moment. As I'm just gonna see if I can get this get this up on my Twitter account, just to try and get a bit more publicity to the race, because obviously I'm not the usual commentator, so you know, we'll be yeah, might not have the exposure to the entire world. The entire world's a bit extreme, but anyway, Leon exiting spoon curve season, nicely modulating that throttle, bit of oversteer on exit, but he manages to keep it nice and clean, gets the save, and doesn't lose much time. Is he still up though? It comes to 62, 7/10 up. These track conditions really starting to get honed in now. And now on to the brakes. He's going to feather that brake pedal, keeping that nice and tight to the curbs. And a big slide coming off it. He's going to be careful because that's going to happen. Overload the rear tyres. He's able to spin without getting out the session, which is good for him. And he's going to have to run back around. And see, Konzo passes him up. Konzo, I believe, just starting a flying lap. So he's not going to threaten. We saw a carriage go fast early on, and he's fallen down the leaderboard's pit, but I think he is on an out lap. Who have we got on up near the end of a flyer? Yeah, I think yeah, we've got Larkin. We'll go on board with the Renault driver, going towards 130R. You see, watch the throttle pedal. It's a slight lift, and that's actually pretty well done through there. And lifting and coasting, going into the finish chicane, deep on the brakes, going to run a bit deep, but he's going to go over that second curb to minimise the loss, and he is actually going to pit despite having his engine turn up on full. Why are you baiting us out like that, Larkin? Anyway, yeah, just searching. Now, we've got a couple of cars to not set a time. We've got Skyzy in the Haas. He's nearing the end of his flying lap. Runs right out a lot of apex speed through 130R. That's going to be good for him. And does he get it stopped? No, not very well. He overcooks it going into the final chicane. And I think he's going to have to... He's going again. Because I don't see how that's going to be a valid time. In fact, it is. I'm quite puzzled by that. I mean, it didn't gain him time, I suppose. I do believe that last chicane is a little bit suspect for track limits, but yeah, whatever. He puts it up into P4, so not bad for him. Got Carriage now. It's got the engine turned right down, so I think he's backed off that particular lap. Who can we watch? Donner Jeep. I think he's just starting a lap. We've already watched him for a lap, so we won't do that again. Josh, who's back in the session, I want to see what he's able to do. Of course, this season hasn't been the absolute best for him, but we'll see how he's able to get on, shall we? Here we go, going into turn 1 and hard on the brakes there. Down into third gear now. Try and transition out. No Patrick just in front of him, and oh, very close. Bit of lag going on here. I think his connection is a little bit weak, unfortunately. So yeah, unfortunately, we're just gonna cut off that. Just don't want to see that. Iceman on a lap, 4/10 up on the moment on his 41.3. For a wet session, not gonna lie, the times are pretty close, especially in the midfield. With just a couple of tenths separating a lot of the drivers. So yeah, good showings from these guys, and yeah, ILR4 putting on a decent show right now as Iceman half a second up on his lap, so he's looking to maybe put himself up and around where Skyzy, as if he is able to nail this final chicane. Harden the curb on the inside and a lot of curb on the second pot. That's a good run if he can keep the traction down. Has to feather a little bit more than they might have liked, but here he comes up to the line. And he does go P6 just ahead of Slenderman, so yeah, definitely a performance to be relatively happy with. Just quickly sending it. I'll be a little second. Just gonna be a little second. Okay, right. So Donner Jeep's gone up into P2 in the Mercedes, so a good lap from him. And you can see how tight it is, but Terror Racer in a good spot there. He's sitting at the top of the timesheets. And looking as though he might be able to stamp his authority on this. Of course, we don't know exactly what the race entails with different factors such as the setups these guys are using and what the weather is actually going to be like in the race, which could hugely influence the setup. We've got yellows in sector 1. That's probably just letting cars through. Slenderman pits. And oh, we got Rob Forbes has gone out there, and he's sitting on a 42.1. He's not going to go any higher than 15th, which he has absolutely no reason to be happy with. Flying Cooper, I'm not sure if he's got a quali ban or some sort, because he's not exited the pits once in this session, which seems a little bit unusual to me, if I'm being honest. So yeah, we'll see if he goes out right at the end. Rain is it easing up? I don't know. Conditions, of course, can change all the time, especially in just such an unpredictable sort. We're going to go aboard with Callus here, as he makes his way through the S section there, trying to keep it clean. Of course, that's the most important thing when you're going in the wet. Very difficult and treacherous, and yeah, able to get through without any big oversteer moments, which can gain you a lot of time, even if you're not pushing it using every millimeter of track. If you're clean, as he puts it in the first gear, which is a bit of a baffling choice, maybe a mistake, and a bit of oversteer on the exit down the 2 for his troubles. Now, Hairpin tries to reach for that apex now, opening up, getting on throttle, short shifting. See, that's a very common tactic in the wet, short shifting. He's not quite flat through the kink, so unable to get full potential of his car. A bit deep into spin as well, bit of oversteer, but holds it very well actually to keep it on racing line, and a much cleaner run through the second bit. I say that, a massive moment on the exit, but again managing to just about keep it clean, of course. Small margins are going to count for much, and yeah, actually backing off that lap in the end. So if we got on a lap, I think we're going to look at Alice Killer, who's a little bit down in the first sector. And again, not being able to take that flat out is very tricky. If you go for it flat out, obviously you can potentially gain some lap time, but at the same time you're running a risk of cutting your qualifying short, or just spinning off onto the grass. Either way is not helping you in the slightest. So here we go, down to 430. He's turning the engine down, so yeah, half a second down. He does not wish to continue on that lap. We're going over Conzo then for this next one, and we'll keep an eye on the times because this is where things are going to start getting a little bit exciting. Onto the throttle, bit of oversteer again, but holds it very nicely, does the Briton. And now through this section, opening the line quite nicely. Oh, massive oversteer moment. That's, yeah, rear end gets absolutely caught, and round it goes. A lot of drivers on their out laps, setting up for flyers. We're going to go on board with Slenderman, who's one of the top drivers in the standings, and currently down in P10, but the field is just so close. It's actually, like, you can see the top 10 separate by less than 9/10, which in these sort of conditions is very impressive. But very wide run to turn 2 for Slenderman, and that's going to set him back. But we'll stay about. No, that's another oversteer moment. Yeah, that's. I think he's going to have to give up on that lap. And oh, it's a bit of an instant there. A Lake Killer and Iceman both going through. Josh, who seems to be having a bit of issues there. As a Conzo obviously backing off Leon here. As a Terror Racer, the top man. Actually, I think he's retired with good reason, because if you look at the track conditions, it has near enough, or almost completely, stopped raining. So I think this could set drivers way back. And one thing I'm going to do is look at the fitted tyres, and okay, well, we don't have actually we've only got Flying Cooper on softs. That's going to be really intriguing to see where he goes. If this track gets to dry conditions quick enough, then we could be in for a world of excitement here, and Cooper, who's sat in the pits this whole time, could have absolutely played a blinder here, because I don't expect these guys to see Leon's gone out. He's retired. Not sure if he crashed or not, but looks like, yeah, these enters aren't exactly suited to the conditions, so I'm going to go on board with Cooper for this one. He's taking it nice and slowly, going towards 130R. We'll see if there's any improvements from any of the guys, but I don't expect much to happen, to be honest. If Cooper can time this right, get the best of the conditions, you just play it carefully, son. You've got 20 seconds, plenty of time, and he's really opening us up now. And here he goes now. Do these dries have it DRS enabled? Oh, I think Cooper may have absolutely pulled a master stroke here, and could end up putting himself on pole position after sitting in the pits for the whole of the session. Of course, he's got to dial this in, and he's got to be very careful. You see, there's still quite a lot of grip loss through the middle of turn 1. You can see him fighting the car even midway through the corner, and he's not taking much risk. You can just tell in his driving, which is fair enough. You can see the car is still trying to get out from under him, but he's keeping it nice and smooth, and that's all he needs to do. Because I feel he could be on for a pole lap here. But let's have a look. Going through the end of the first sector, doesn't have a delta to base on, but it's a 37.3. We'll see how that stacks up on the exit deck. The 2, bit of oversteer. He's got to be careful. Don't spin the car. That's the worst thing he can do. And I'm just looking to the times. I don't think anyone's been improving, and Slenderman off the track is a bit of confirmation that these enters just aren't working anymore. But are the dries working well enough for Flying Cooper? Here he goes now, round towards Spoon, and now onto the brakes for the medium speed double left-hander. He keeps it just about in a straight line. A lot of sliding through the second part, but really well held actually, and that's set him up for a really nice run. Of course, they're not going to be getting anywhere near the kind of 26s, 27s, the times that you'd usually expect to see at this track in the dry, and still no real improvements coming from any of the drivers. So here we go now. Cooper rounds the final corner. Has he pulled an absolute wonder stroke here to put it on potential pole position? Here we go up to the line. It's a 40.1. It's just in P2. And I don't think he could have timed that much better. Cooper has put himself in with a shout. Really smart qualifying from him, but it's not enough to displace Tero at the top, who retired early, and in the end didn't quite lose out from that. So we're going to run through the qualifying order. Terror Racer is able to snatch that pole position ahead of Flying Cooper Don Rajib in P3. Josh Larkin running at the top 5, and then very tight here. We've got Ali Killer, Ali's Killer, I think it is Ali Killer, Konzo, Leon. Leon, of course, down in 8th place. Going to be tough for him to fight back if he wants to just keep himself, well, try and extend that championship lead. Skyzy and Iceman round at the top 10, and you can see still very close. Slenderman Carriage, Noel, Rich Parrish, Rob Forbes, Callus and Paul. They're going to round out the grid, and you can see very tight in that midfield. That means we could be on for an exciting race. I'm very intrigued to see what's going to be entailed. That was phenomenal English for me, if I do say so myself. So you see, nice and sunny, looking good above the Suzuka circuit, the iconic Suzuka circuit in Japan, and of course waiting for the drivers to ready up. And so we'll see the tire choices. I believe they can start on soft. I believe the strategy is just fine for their tire deck, not too bad at this track. So yeah, this is gonna be good fun. Looking forward to it. So just waiting 10 seconds out. Drivers finalising their setups, finalising their fuel loads, finalising their strategy. Everything's got to be just perfect if they want to get the best result they can. So here we go now. Formation lap. We get a look at the tire choices of the drivers. I can see most of the top guys are on that soft tire. Josh going for a different one. He's going on the mediums. We'll see how that pans out. And most of the drivers near the back of the grid, maybe trying to run a reverse strategy, starting on the mediums. I believe soft to medium is possible at this track, especially with fresh tyres. So it's going to make for some interesting racing. If Josh can hold on at a track that it is difficult to overtake at, so he might not actually fall down the field too quickly, he could be on for a good one. But it is Terror Racer, who took pole position. He's got that prime spot, and as I said a few seconds ago, Suzuka is a tough one to get moves done at, and I feel like that's going to really benefit him in his pursuit of winning this race. So yeah, making our way around the iconic twists and turns of this track. I'm just putting out championship leader Leon, the Williams man, on mediums, so he's looking to run a reverse strategy. We'll see how he gets on. Skyzy behind him as well on the mediums. Those three, including Josh, they're the top 10 guys, and outside the top 10, only Rich has opted to go for those soft tyres, so he could be one to watch, potentially moving forward through this race. So yeah, there's not much to say here. Just get us underway. So the top 5 could have broken away. Ali Killer going very slowly, maybe just to be a bit tactical, trying to cool down the tyres of some of the medium runners behind him, which could work out. We'll see. But anyway, Tero takes his position up the front of the grid. I'm looking forward to it. Hope you are too. Let's get into things. As the number 22 machine takes its position at the front. And hopefully I get a better camera angle than this for the start. That'd be a bit disappointing on Cody's part, but here we go. As all the cars formed up on the grid now, the last car, BWRT Paul, takes his possession. Here we go now. The lights building up. Here we go. 3, 4, 5 lights. And here we go, and Suzuka. It's a pretty good start up the front from Terror Racer. We'll see as Josh not away very particularly well. The McLaren driver falling back on those mediums, but as Terror gets into the lead in turn 1. Oh, look, spinner! I believe that's a Larkin going backwards there. He's in through the grass on the inside of turn 2. Not great for him there. Skyzy and Slenderman jostling over position. Great move from Leon there. He picks his way past Slenderman early on. Good work from the championship leader, but up front it is Terror Racer who has grabbed the lead and he's going to look to run with it now. Has Josh ended up not losing out too much, but he's gone on the grass on the outside of Dunlop, and thankfully looks like everyone's going to avoid. Oh, the Mercedes of Iceman nearly comes a cropper, but he's able to avoid contact there. Rob Forbes also off out of Dunlop there at the end of sector 1. Not great for these guys going into the hairpin there. And Leon setting up another move on Skyzy. Skyzy's not giving him much space, but he's just about able to get through there cleanly. The Williams doesn't quite get through on this occasion, and now he's got a Slenderman looking to try and pick his way past there. The Red Bull driver focused, ready, looking to the inside almost, not quite though. Spoon, very ambitious move, that's for sure. But Terror Racer already breaking away, 8/10 clear. He's going to try and push, try and get out of that DRS range, but they're all backing up behind Skyzy. The medium runners have made a decent start to this race in the midfield. And now, here we go now. Leon lining up, but it's not going to go for it into the chicane, of course. A lot to be lost, certainly, for him. So he's just got to take his time as Terror Racer opens it up. He's already out of DRS range. That's because Cooper's made a mistake. And Don Rajiv now coming down the outside, going into turn 1. Can Cooper hold it on the inside? No, Don Rajiv goes straight round him there. Very easy move down the straight without DRS as well. As further back, Larkin on the softs. He's got to make quick progress. He makes his way past Callis, going into turn 1. Good move. Further up, Cooper, can he recover from that? Don Rajiv pushing his way through. He's into P2, looking good. Can he hold this out? Konzo at the back of this train for P2 at the moment. And Don Rajiv now's got to push. Cooper had a bit of a shaky first lap. Don Rajiv's got to get on with this and try and stay with Tero, or potentially get in that DRS range. If Cooper makes another error, that's going to put LA Killer all over him. Doesn't go for the inside as Paul, I think, has gone off. I think at the exit Dunlop he recovers, but he's a long way back. That's going to set him back tremendously. Ali Killer now looking potentially inside a Spoon. Risky move, he wants to pull it off. I don't think he's going to go for that one. No, he's sensible, backs off. And Cooper is really struggling early on. I'm not sure if he's got wing damage or obviously potentially qualified a bit out of position after making that brilliant strategy in qualifying to get up onto the front row. And they're all bunching up here. Ali Killer sensing, tries a move on the inside 130R. Konzo out wide, is able to save it, which is good for him. Ali Killer, don't think he's going for a move on the inside of that chicane, but he may have forced Cooper offline, and Cooper might be holding these guys up. He needs to get on with it now, as Terror Racer continues to stretch his legs at the front. 1.7 seconds now clear at the front from Don Rajiv, and Ali Killer's got to get this done now. DRS is enabled, he won't have it on this occasion, but no, not close enough into turn 1. But Cooper out wide, could give him a sniff. Doesn't quite happen for him. Ali Killer has to back off. Further back there, Slenderman picks his way past Carriage, and on the exit there, no, Patrick going for round the outside of the S section, and he has to be respected with his car position. Doesn't quite get it worked now. Iceman now shaping up a move as they all stack up in this midfield. Rich also looking at a move behind Paresh there as well. So a lot of excitement going on. Oh, two cars off both the racing points going off at the exit of Dunlop, and No's managed to save it to an extent, but Carriage has lost out tremendously from that. And both, oh, more incidents there as Larkin and No Patrick getting caught up there. No, after making that mistake, looks like he's just made another and come a cropper. Sorry, solo commentary taking its toll already on me. How can I last it out? We will see. Konzo though chasing onto LA Killer, who's made a mistake somehow, as Cooper may have been able to stretch his legs out front holding onto that P3. Now Konzo's got a good opportunity here. He's got two chances into the chicane and into turn 1 with DRS. Either way, he's got to try and get there quickly before Skyzy shakes up a move on those mediums, which are going to be outlasting and getting quicker and quicker as the race progresses. Konzo though not close enough. Going into the final chicane, he's going to have to open up and set himself up for a run down the straight. LA Killer immediately switching to the inside, trying to break that slipstream now. He's not got the DRS from Cooper, but I think he's going to be fine. Konzo biding his time behind. Skyzy has managed to bridge that gap, and he's very impressive early on. Paul gets a 3-second penalty. This race going from bad to worse for him. He's got a couple of cars in the pit lane, Carriage and Rob, who both, I believe, have got collected in incidents so far. Iceman making more progress. He gets past Rich, and Paresh looking very threatening in that Toro Rosso, but overtaking through this first sector is nigh impossible, especially through this S section, and it doesn't quite work out. But Rich is struggling. You see much better momentum from Paresh. He's just got to be careful though. He doesn't run too wide. But yeah, through the deckness, keeping it nice and clean. Larkin in behind, making quick progress on the softs, but might hit a bit of a wall here as he hits a bit more traffic. Paresh looks like he wants to try and get this move down quickly on Rich, who's struggling to an extent on these softs. It looks like Iceman not really bridging, not really extending that gap. Ferrari still tucked in, and with a couple of overtaking opportunities, he's got yellows in sector 2. Of course, overtaking opportunities down this back straight and on the run to the first corner as Josh is out the session. I think that's more connection issues. We saw it early on, unfortunately for him. Paresh under pressure behind, but he's on those mediums. He's just got to try and bide his time going round, and you can see Larkin might be shaping up a move outside of the final chicane, and it looks like Paresh gives it up easily, so he doesn't want to get into too many fights, which is understandable, I suppose. Being on those mediums, you want to try and play the long game, as Skyzy is doing so brilliantly. He's in a great position sitting there. Leon as well, looking good. And behind them though, Rich and Iceman side by side through turn 1. And it's Iceman that gets forced down a little bit wide onto the curb on the outside. But he doesn't lose out to Larkin there. He's actually trying to fight back at Rich. These two going back and forth. And the Renault almost checks up into the back of the Mercedes. Getting very tight and very scrappy in this midfield now. But the move comes off for Rich and he's back in front. It looks like these two could be going at it all day, so evenly matched, but they're losing contact with the group ahead. Those guys that are still in contention for the win. ILRKiller has got back onto the back as Paul is out. So yeah, terrible fortunes for the BW Racing Team guys, as ILRKiller looks like he gave a tap to Cooper out of the exit of that hairpin. And he ends up going through to P3, and Konzo is shaping up a move, throwing dummies all over the shop there as they try and put each other off. Going through the tricky spoon curve and trying to get that exit there, as Cooper going to look to fight back. He might be a little bit frustrated after that move, which I'm not sure what happened there. He either made a mistake or was shoved out of the way, and either way that's not a great way to lose a position. Konzo though looks to try and threaten the Alfa Romeo ahead, but not quite happening. Going into the final chicane, and ILRKiller needs to try and stretch his legs now, needs to move and get himself up there. I think that not much is going to go on there. The DRS train still holding on. This midfield battle though, a lot of excitement's been being shared, and Larkin's got a run on Iceman there. Iceman may have to cover the line here from the Renault behind, but using that slipstream from Rich, he's going to be able to keep that and almost close up onto the back of the Ferrari, but now runs wide through turn 1, and Larkin with an opportunistic move down the inside of turn 2, side by side going towards turn 3. Looks like the Renault might have the momentum on the inside. A great move up into P10, back into the points for Larkin, who's making good progress after that lap 1 error. Or I'm not sure if it was an error, he might have just got caught up. But now they're all stacking up behind Cooper again. Cooper with a big oversteer moment coming out of the deck the 1, and that's going to put Konzo alongside him. Is Cooper going to try and fight back behind him? Though Leon setting up a move on Skyzy, the top medium runners, and Leon's got to be careful there. He's trapped up behind, and Skyzy going all over the curb on the inside is going to compromise his run, and he loses out to Leon. So good track positioning from Leon. He gains a place and is now the top medium runner in this race. But the battles continue back in the field. It looks like Carlos has made a mistake. He loses out to Paresh, sorry, however you pronounce it. My apologies. Out of the exit. Skyzy now. Is he going to look for a run here on Leon? Of course, these guys will be at each other's throats, looking to try and seize that edge on these mediums. Paresh is out of the session. Skyzy using the curb, and he's gone all the way down the inside, out breaks himself hugely. There's a mistake from Skyzy, and he's going to drop back 1, 2. Oh, and he gets tagged by Leon as he goes past. Skyzy going for a move and ends up losing out hugely there. Leon now is going to take advantage of all this. He's down the inside of Cooper. Is Slenderman down the inside of Cooper? Yes, he is. And a good follow through from Slenderman keeps him in the fight. And now the medium runner's making progress, but Skyzy's lost out hugely in that last lap, being the top medium runner, and now he's going to have to play the hunter and chase these guys down. Bit of lag from Slenderman. Hopefully that is able to sort each other out. And still the Rich train continues. Larkin having a bit of trouble cutting his way through Of course, he's passed one now. He's got to pass two. And of course, that could be all the more difficult than you want it to be. So Cooper down into 7th there up front. Skyzy is going to want to try and clear him as quick as possible if he wants any shot of winning this race or getting on the podium. But Leon has managed to work himself into a great position. Up in P5, leading medium runner, running that reverse strategy. And it's around about this time that the soft guys, I wouldn't say they're going to be pitting immediately, but around about lap 9-10 is where you might be seeing those guys as Skyzy's managed to make his way past Cooper. I think Cooper made a mistake. And yeah, you can see Skyzy is through, but is Cooper going to fight back at him, you know? I think he is dropping back. So it looks like that's not going to happen there. Cooper losing out, and I think he may stay there for a while. Rich, though, looking, he is closing down that gap. Oh, bit of lag there. I think he's disconnected. I'm not sure. Larkin up the inside. Rich is back, but he's going to lose out there on the inside. Larkin in a bit deep. Is Rich going to try and fight back? Tries to get that exit there and keep himself in contention. Larkin's not exactly broken away. Rich now DRS there. Larkin moving towards the inside but not covering the inside. Round the outside goes Rich. He's going to try a spectacular whip down into turn 1. He's got his nose ahead. Can he complete the manoeuvre? No, Larkin shuts the door. Good late braking there and good confidence. And Rich is now going to have to contend with Iceman who's been going at it with him all throughout the race. Further forwards. Slenderman trying to keep that pressure on. There's a lot of he's in hot pursuit of that Williams ahead of him. And Leon himself is chasing down Konzo, trying to grab that DRS, which he has done so for the moment. If he can keep that with his soft start to the grade, you could be seeing him in a good position. But Terror Racer's in a good position himself. Up there, 3.5 second lead, showing superior pace to all these top soft runners and really working it out. LA Killer also, though, making good progress. He's got himself into that DRS range of Don Rajib, and that down the main straight is gonna give him that opportunity to make some progress. Leon, though, I don't think he's gonna be close enough to Konzo on this occasion. Slenderman's lost out to him on this lap, so he's got to really push and get himself back in there. Same with Skyzy. He's got to really work now because he's on the back foot of these top medium runners. He was in a fantastic position. Now he's got to try and earn his spot up there with those guys up front. But Leon now, that DRS is going to be handy for him. He's moving towards the inside on the straight, which is a little bit of a curious move. But anyway, exercising that DRS down the straight, maybe saving a bit of ERS in the process, which actually gives me an idea. Probably should be opening that. I see Leon running very low on his ERS. Konzo not too great either. See, a lot of these guys around about the 40% range. As Carriage at the back works his way past Josh's ghost car from the disconnection, unfortunately. So he's now, without a miracle, I don't think he's going to get points anyway if he finishes in the top 10, or rather if his ghost car finishes in the top 10, because that's not really legitimate, shall we say. So is Konzo going to want to fight Leon here? Leon, it's inevitable that he's going to have a crack. And it's whether Konzo is going to pit to avoid the fight, or if he's going to risk a battle with the championship leader. And of course this, Leon now getting held up is going to allow Slenderman back in, and potentially even allow Skyzy back in. But Skyzy's not exactly making that pace that he needs to be making for the moment. So he's got to try and find something extra. Leon now wants to try and get through, as we've got a mistake from Cooper. Oh, it's gone from amazing to alright and now to bad. Hopefully he's going to be able to recover. Carriage gets a penalty. He's running of course at the back of the field, but that's still not great for him. And if Leon is able to get a good exit, Konzo though is going to pit, so like I said, he's avoiding that fight. Oh, massively speeds in the pit lane. Cooper is out, so it's gone to horrendous for him. Konzo though into the pits. Is he going to emerge in clean air? Huge question mark. Looks like he's going to run out well ahead of Rob Forbes, so that's a good call from Konzo. He's now got a chance to make some progress and undercut these cars ahead. So he comes out. Yeah, he's well ahead. So Konzo now, clean air. He's going to have to exercise that, really push and get himself into contention for a podium. So he's still in a good spot there. Of course, the thriller could be at the end here when Leon, still working his way through as LA Killer continues to pressure Don Regime. I wouldn't be surprised if all these guys up front, these podium runners, will pit this lap, try and cover Konzo. And we'll see if Konzo's able to really adapt to those mediums and push his way forward as Callas and Iceman swapping positions side by side, coming out of the hairpin. Iceman's got that momentum around the outside, but a shorter run from Callas is going to serve him well, and he gets back through and holds on ahead of Iceman. Iceman may look to try and straight back at him, but not the best run through spin from him. Now, what about these leaders? What are they going to do? Terrorizer, who's dominated this race so far, is going to stay out. That could potentially prove to be his downfall. We'll see. And yeah, so Donnerjeep stays out, and ILRGT now. We'll see if this undercut is able to work. He's able to stop the car, crucially, unlike Konzo. Can he get through on Donnerjeep from that? Slenderman still trying to push to keep up with Leon, but Leon's really showing a relentless pace at this stage and moving his way forward. This great midfield fight isn't going to produce any action into turn 1 for the moment. Whereas Konzo, of course, Konzo sped into the pit lane, but he's going to get a slight advantage on track from that. It's going to be tight, but I think ILRGT is just going to cover that off. So Konzo's undercut attempt gets shot out. Now he's got lap holder tyres and a penalty, and it's definitely a long way, a long shot now for Konzo if he wants to get any sort of good result. And that penalty could cost him with the field still very damn close, must be said. But Larkin on the comeback drive beginning to chase Skyzoo, who I think has made a mistake. And he has been making mistakes, unfortunately, this race. You know, he had a great first few laps. Since then, though, that mistake at the chicane, it's not gone well for him since then. So he's going to have to put in a lot of work. But a lot of pressure now on these top guys. Donnerjeep beginning to get chased down by Leon. And Leon will be hoping for his sake. If he can just grab DRS and Donnerjeep pits, that's the best case scenario for him. And I said it's lap 9 to 11 is usually the pit window. So Terrorizer comes into the pits. Does he get it stopped? He's got to spot that point under a lot of pressure. Does so very nicely. Donnerjeep also into the pits. That frees up Leon in the lead. And oh, very tight, but it's a good pit entry there from Donnerjeep. And 8 pits. That's going to release these top 3 medium runners who have now got to try and exercise that progress. Larkin as well staying a bit longer, trying to chase them down. Terrorizer, what's he going to come out traffic wise? He could be, I think he's just going to be fine. Yeah, so Terrorizer gets out clean air behind all these guys. Now ILRGT and Donnerjeep, this is an interesting one, and it's going to be tight, but I think that undercut doesn't quite come off, and it's nose to tail practically coming out of turn 2. So now these guys battling, and you can see those cold tires from Donnerjeep. He's trying to work them, but ILRGT and Konzo putting all sorts of pressure on him, trying to weave in and out of that S section and keep the Mercedes man on his toes. But he's able to hold on now. Terro's in with a really nice chance, but he's got to clear Callas, who's probably going to be staying out quite a number of laps. I expect these guys to be pitting around about lap 16 or 17, and a mistake is going to bring Terro a bit closer, and that's not exactly what he wants, to be honest. But this battle now for what at the moment is a net P2, but of course there's a top 3 at the moment, could be a real threat to that. Larkin picks up a penalty, that's going to put a real dent into his impressive comeback drive, and Callas as well. So not great for him in that Williams. And he's going to have to really work away now. But big battle here. Donnerjeep, that undercut from Ali has left him very vulnerable there, and you sense that if he'd pitted that last lap, he may have been able to get out of that DRS range, but that's irrelevant now. Now he's got to focus on keeping these two very quick cars behind him. Good exit out of the final chicane from Ali. Donnerjeep though might just have enough in his legs to hold on, and I can see ILRGT, he's not running high ERS, so he's trying to save it. Konzo behind, looking to go a bit more aggressive there. Now he turns down, so Ali's going to bide his time, save that ERS, and then look to strike. A very common tactic on the F1 2019 game when it comes to overtaking. Larkin out the pits and nice clean air, and he's going to have to try and make the most of it. About 11 seconds behind that potential podium battle. Of course that penalty could hold him back himself. But the main point of attraction still this battle for a net P2, and a poor exit off of Dunlop for ILRGT. It's going to put Konzo in with a shout, but of course Degna's not great for following, and Ali's actually able to make good time on there. Donnerjeep as well. But a lunge into this hairpin I wouldn't recommend unless you're really, really close. He closes up on the brakes, but not quite enough to pull off that move. And of course, If he gets that move done on Don Rajiv, then unless Don Rajiv makes a mistake, the Mercedes man can just come right back at him with DRS. So he's got to meter his effort very well, but he's also going to have to get past well defending from a very feisty looking McLaren, who's going to be a bit frustrated after speeding in the pit lane, and he's got his ERS turned up to full. He's looking to gain track position there, and Ellie Keller has got to be wary of that. He's got to respect McLaren behind him. So here we go now, round 130R. It's going to have to be a big launch for Konzo if he wants it, and I think he's going to be too far away on this occasion. Now, lining up now, exit off the chicane. It's a decent exit from Ali. Wants to get a big slide from Konzo. That's going to cost him any chance, I think, of getting that move done. Is Ali maybe going to... is he going to maybe think about getting a move on here, but he's not going to be nearly close enough to Don Rajiv, and Tero just continues to pull away. So his threat, I wouldn't say it's from these guys. His only potential threat could be a late charge from Leon or Slenderman, really railing him in at the end of the race. And you can see Ali Keller, look at how tight he's sitting to the back of this Mercedes, but that dirty air just holds him back a little bit more. But if he's able to stick with him, he could use that DRS in the main straight or a slipstream run into 130R. He's got some options here, and I feel like he has to try and get this done because of the threat from Konzo. We saw Konzo, if he didn't get that slide coming out of the final chicane, he may have had a chance. Look at how tight he's getting there on the inside and almost hitting the back of the Mercedes. He's able to keep it clean though. So now they round it. The sky just darkens a little bit there. Cloud coming over. And a bit of a mistake there from Ali Keller. Is that going to put Konzo in with a shout? Konzo needs to gap these guys hugely if he wants any show of getting a podium, really. As Terror Racer works his way past Callis. Callis still on the inside, going to the final chicane, but he's sensible. Doesn't fight it, which is the wise thing to do in my opinion. Here we go. 6th, 7th and 8th run through the final chicane, and we'll see the exits that each of them get. Bit of oversteer for Ali Keller. And is that going to put Konzo in with a shout? We see Konzo, he's had some good straight line speed, but he's not opening that DRS. Very interesting strategic call. Because in my mind, he's just burning ERS by sitting behind. Maybe it's failed, I don't know. But either way, I reckon he had an outside chance of trying to pull that move, but it didn't quite happen for him. And I think these guys they're losing time relative to other guys around them. Larkin's gaining on them. Terror Racer's pulling away at a rate of knots. So really, these guys aren't going all that quickly right now. And I'm not sure if it's down to Don Rajiv holding them up or not. Of course, that wet grid could have spaced things up. Could have made different strategies. Ali Keller gets a penalty. And that puts Don Rajiv in a good position. He's just got to try and stay in contact with them. Is Ali Keller going to go for broke here now? As he chases, looking for that move. Building up that ERS now. Just going to try and open things up. Spoon curve next. Konzo's not as close this time round, but he's saved up a heap of ERS. So he could be in. If he gets a sniff, he's got that battery to follow it through. But here we go. Ali Keller in with his best chance yet. He's right tucked up underneath, but as he's metering himself, going to try and hold back and go for a move into turn 1. Here we go. Round 130R. He's dropping back a little bit there. And Don Rashid's really exercising everything he's got to try and keep the runner driver behind, but he's slow through the final chicane. And is Ali Keller going to get in with a shot? Konzo's not going to be close enough, I don't think. But Ali Keller, he's got to go risky, and he's not got the straight line speed, it seems, to really make moves stick. So that doesn't quite come off for him this time. Larkin with the fastest lap. He's got a long way to go if he wants to chase down, but Ali Keller has got that penalty. If he makes a mistake, his teammate could put him under some pressure. We'll have to wait and see. Tonnerjeet really soaking up this pressure very well, I've got to say. No mistakes, and he's saving his ERS well, which is quite rare of a car that's leading a train in DRS. Usually, he's the one being starved. But he is actually managing his ERS better than Ali Keller, who's really struggling in that regard, and it's holding him back from making aggressive moves. Konzo's sitting back in the meantime, just saving that up, and maybe looking to strike, but he's maybe not quite got that pace, I don't know. But there's a mistake from Ali Keller coming out of the hairpin, and Konzo now, he's got it into overtake now, he's unleashed. He's saved his ERS very well, and now he can try and, capitalise on really using his patience earlier on and putting himself. Leon is pitted there, Slenderman in. So here we go now, the top 2 cars going to the pits, and it's going to be fascinating to see where they emerge relative to this P2 battle, or P6 battle on the moment on the road. Konzo holding back at the moment there. He's maybe just relying on a poor exit from ILRGT from the final chicane, but it doesn't quite happen. ILRGT is clean. All 3 of the previous medium runners going to the pits, and Leon might be out amongst them here. Is he going to be out ahead of Don Regime? Almost, not quite. Don Regime sweeps through on the outside of turn 1, and now Leon has got to get on with things now if he wants to win this race. He's got a big gap to close up of about 7 seconds to the leader. Look at him now, practically pushing him round the S section. And Slenderman's got to clear all these guys. There's Leon in a really nice spot here to get at least P2 in this race now. As he's searching for moves on this Mercedes, draws alongside towards Declan 1, and through goes Leon. Easy as you like, and his lack of ERS is not going to hold him back there, as he's going to be able to quickly establish himself and chase down the leader, Terror Racer. Oh boy, I'm looking forward to that. Slenderman now. He's in this fight now for the podium. And oh, I think he tapped Konzo there going round the hairpin. And both those guys losing out greatly. Konzo's now in a bit of bother. And Don Regime now immediately looks like he's going to lose that DRS from ahead. So Leon scampering off into the distance, and he's only about 6.5 seconds back. And I reckon in 10 laps, or just 10 and a bit laps, he's got a good chance of that. Slenderman though, he's got to get on with it now. Back on to the rear end of the McLaren of Konzo. He's got good ERS as well, so he can exercise that. Of course, Konzo has been burning it a bit more in these last few laps. So round the outside almost, Konzo is wise to it though, covers that line as Callis from P2 pits. So now this battle for P2 is now all on track. Slenderman now, good run there with the DRS. Konzo doesn't cover the inside line. I don't think that was wise, or he's maybe just backing up. He realises it's not his fight, and through goes Slenderman, P5. ILRGT not close enough to Don Regime, and Leon continues to hunt down that leader. Of course, we'll see if these softs can hold up. He might be looking after them. Of course, very low on ERS as Leon. Oh wow, this is going to be fun. Looking forward to things unfolding at the front. Slenderman now, he can push himself onto the podium. Skyzy comes out just ahead of Larkin critically, and he's now got a bit of a target there to chase down those guys fighting over the podium. As things getting really bunched up now, Slenderman's got to run maybe to the outside of the hairpin or the inside if he fancies it. Down late on the brakes. No, not quite. He opens up though, so wise move. If he can get a good exit, he can still be in with a chance of keeping himself in contention at least. He's not going to do it into spoon, I don't think. ILRGT must be so frustrated he's not been able to clear this Mercedes. And that's going to come back to bite him, as he might be slipping back. I think he's run a bit wide through the first part of spin. Uses it to open up the exit though, at least. But now, through goes the Red Bull now. Up into overtake mode. He wants to get this done straight away. And ILRGT, we've seen he's lacked straight line speed. Is it going to be 1 to RTR? Not quite. He's sitting very close now. Is Slenderman going to go for a late move chicane? He's up to the outside. Goes late on the brakes. Draws alongside and ahead. And gets it round the outside. ILRGT over the inside. And the corner cut from Konzo, but what a great move. Slenderman up into P4, and now he can push his way through. Don Regime's just up the road, but I don't think it's quite going to happen for him unless he can switch back, dive inside of turn 2, but that's a risky move. He knows he can get this podium now. His chances of the win have kind of fallen out of contention. Now he's going to take it, forces the error, and now he's going to run around the outside. Is it going to happen though, or is it? Slenderman almost makes the space, and now Ali trying to fight back at him, but it doesn't quite happen. So Slenderman having a bit of a scare, but he holds on, and Don Regime doing a great job of holding onto this podium, but they're allowing drivers like Skyzy back into this fight. If they keep battling like this, Don Regime may have to accept it, but Slenderman doing a really good job, and Don Regime, what a great defensive drive from him. He's really put his heart into this, and he's really been smart with the way he's managed his ERS. You know, but ultimately, when you've got a car with so much fresher tyres than you, it's kind of a case of when, not if, it down the inside, almost into spoon. That would have been a crazy move. I'm glad he backed out of it, because we could have seen a Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen situation. Slenderkiller? Not the best exit. Coming out off the spin car, and now he's got pressure from ILRGT now. The McLaren, can he fight back on him? Konzo has a little look at 130R. On the Renault, doesn't quite come off though. He's got the penalties, but he's gonna look for it anyway. Outside, off the chicane. Slenderman not particularly close to the back of Don Rajib. Gets a good exit though, and he could still be in with a shout. DRS is open. Don Rajib now, is he going to go hard on defence? Closing in Slenderman all the time. He's put the RS down though. He's biding his time behind him. Looks to the inside. Turn 2. He's found the space. He's got to be careful though. And now round goes Slenderman. Into the back of him goes Ali Killer. Konzo with great reflexes to get around that. A drama there in the battle for the podium. Slenderman maybe just going a bit too aggressive, too ambitious. And Don Rajib gets involved in that incident. Throw goes Skyzy up into P5. And finally that hard battling has, well, it's paid. And they have paid the price. Slenderman now with that spin. Ali Killer, huge wing damage. You can see Slenderman now has got to make a miraculous recovery drive. Again, I think he just went a bit too far there. Just looking for a move that wasn't really on in an effort to grab that podium. But the error was made. And Skyzy is one that's really taking advantage of that. Konzo with the penalties, I think, is going to drop off. And Don Rajib looks like he could be cruising through. Ali Killer, though, comes out the worst from that. No front wing, or very little front wing on the car. No downforce as Callis goes through. So yeah, desperately unlucky from Ali Killer there. He's not really done much wrong. He was just a passenger in that. Sitting behind, all of a sudden the Red Bull goes round up onto the racing line and there's nothing you can do. And now, Slenderman, has he got wing damage himself? I think he's fine, but Rich is pursuing him. Trying to get that pressure on. Looks like he's dropped out. He's going to drop out that DRS range though. Slenderman still in with a shout of beating out Larkin. But Ali Killer into the pits, and he's going to drop well out of contention for points now unless something else dramatic happens. But the chase at the front, Leon is catching, not as quickly as I thought he would, and Terror Racer is really showing a really classy performance here at the front. Really pushing, metering his effort, just controlling this race beautifully. But is there so much you can do when you've got a fast Williams bearing down on you with much better tyres? But Leon's ERS saving again, it's costing him dear, and I feel like he'd be catching him much quicker if he just focused more on saving that up throughout the first part of the race. Because now he can't really save it now, because if he does that he's going to lose too much time, and beating out Terror is going to be impossible. So he's got to keep pushing, but you see huge issues he's having there as he almost drops to 0, and that's costing him straight line speed. You see he loses a couple of tenths on that straight to Terror Racer. He's going to gain it back on the chicane, I'm pretty certain, just with that extra grip he's got. He gains 3 tenths through the chicane with his much better tyres. But it's still a long way away just yet. So Leon now, running, you can't run with this sort of VRS. It's not going to work unless you got great pace, which he does have. So we'll see if he's able to pull it out regardless. Callis picks up a penalty, but I think he is pretty safe in that P10 for the moment, unless he makes an error. He's just got to keep it clean. Slenderman is chasing down Larkin up ahead of him, and I know Larkin has a penalty. I'm not too sure about Slenderman. I'm not going to take time out of it to check, so we're going to live with that as we continue on. So still a lot to play for there. Skyzy is not quite making the pace. I think he is struggling a little bit for race pace. Ever since that mistake, he hasn't quite had it. And to be honest, he could have been up there for a podium. He still got in with a chance of catching Konzo though. And of course Konzo had a massive scare going to turn 1, and I think the penalties will cost him. So Skyzy should be on for P4. Unless Slenderman, especially, is able to chase him down. Larkin's catching him too as well. And he's showing pretty good pace on those mediums. As the softs of Skyzy begin to die out. And speaking of tyres dying out, Cantero's hold on. As Leon is chipping away at that gap. It's only about half a second a lap though. Which means, with 5 laps to go, and 2.5 seconds, I think we could be in for a grandstand finish here. We'll have to wait and see. Leon's got to keep the pace up. And he's got to keep focused. And if those tyres die out, it could hand the win to Tero. Larkin continuing to chase. Slenderman continuing to trace, but not a good run through that last chicane. That's going to cost him a heap of time. But just quickly checking the race director. Tero has just one warning. Leon has absolutely no warnings. Neither of these guys are under a whole lot of pressure when it comes to getting penalties, so it's just going to come down to on track. Can both these guys could be tight on tyres by the end of the race. A lot of pressure on as Conzo begins to get reeled in by all these guys. These guys from P4 to 7, they're converging on each other. And again, we could have another grandstand finish in the making. Looking forward to it. Certainly, Rich and Iceman, of course, still within 2 seconds of each other. And Callis, he has got penalties, but he's still in there. Still chasing down Leon. Of course, I said, it's been half a second a lap he's been gaining. 4 laps to go, and it looks like the gap's going to finish around about 2 seconds. Of course, watch Tero gain a little bit on this straight. Does he still have ERS, Tero? He's running a bit lower now. So maybe he's just trying to respond to Leon. At least he's got to be careful he doesn't run under that sort of 10%, because then his straight line speed advantage over Leon is going to be gone. So another half a second taken out of that leading gap with 4 laps to go. Oh man. If Leon can get in that DRS range a lap early, and it could put him under all sort of pressure. And Larky gets a 5-second penalty. I think that's one of the harsh ones you get at the chicane. Instant 5 seconds. And that's going to drop him back behind Slenderman for sure now. Despite his really good pace, he has shown excellent pace in this race, but it doesn't look like it's going to count for much. He may even lose out to Rich, who was battling with at the start. But Skyzy is not making the impression into Conzo that he needs at this moment if he wants to grab P4. Of course, on penalties, he probably will anyway. But Larkin's going to do all he can. Even with the penalties, he's going to try and unsettle Skyzy, maybe force him into an error. Skyzy's just got to try and keep it clean, and he'll have P4 in the bag here. Just by keeping it on the track, which is always a very important factor. The gap hovering just under 1.5 seconds for the lead. Leon is chipping away, but he can't make mistakes, and neither can Tero. Both these guys are under so much pressure. And it's really going to come down. As Rob Forbes retires, he's out of the points anyway. As Ali Keller, you see on his recovery, trying to make some inroads. But here's the key thing. If Leon can grab himself some DRS at the end of this straight, or at the end of the straight at lap 25, end of lap 25, then he's in a great position. 4/10 is the gap between Leon and DRS. But he didn't get the best exit there. Back out to 1.5 seconds. This is such a critical lap here. And both these drivers, I wonder if they know it. Because there's a lot of pressure on. Both of them need to nail this lap if they want to win this race. Terrorizer has that critical advantage of track position. Leon's might have to pull a do or die on him. But the ARS advantage could come in handy for Tero. The Red Bull has led this entire race. Behind him, Slenderman looking at Larkin. He's beginning to find his footing now. And he's still got a very outside chance of beating out Skyzy, but there is a mistake there through the S section. It's going to drop him back just a little bit. Pressure still on the Renault though. Slenderman beginning to find his footing. And looks like Conzo looks like he's going to hold on to P4 on track. But of course, when it comes to the penalties, it might just work against him. And Tero has maintained the gap to Leon on this lap. If Leon's tyres given up, I'm not sure. And I said this was the critical lap, and if Tero can hold this, it could mean that the last two laps, I mean, it still won't be comfortable, but he's just relieved himself of a whole lot of pressure if he can stay ahead of Leon. Of course, now he's just got to avoid making the mistake, but it looks like he's survived that critical lap where Leon should have been able to get into DRS, or had a chance of getting into DRS, and he's not really gained, and even in his strength on the circuit, the chicane hasn't quite happened for him. Tero, 2 laps between him and a victory. Had a very well earned one, just for that dominant first stint and really good pace compared to the other guys on his strategy. Has kept him in the game, but behind him there's Slenderman. He's setting up a move on Larkin straight to the inside, going towards the first corner, but Larkin's still up alongside him though. Looks like he's going to save it up though. And of course with his penalties, it's probably not worth fighting it either. Slenderman up into P6. Can he get Skyzy on track? I'm just going to quickly check the penalties of these two guys. Actually, I just see Iceman and Callis side by side coming in at turn 2. Iceman on the inside for turn 3, holds it, and he's going to get that position, or hold on to that position ahead of the charging Williams behind him. Still some battles to be had. Leon looks like he's going to try and make one last big effort to try and get that DRS and pressure Tero on the last lap. This race isn't over yet. And ILR's going to pit. Looks like he's going for fastest lap. But he's not going to get points for it being outside the top 10, unfortunately. Slenderman close to Skyzy. And a quick check. It's going to have to be very swift. Penalties. Skyzy on one penalty, actually. Slenderman also one penalty, but 2 warnings. And one of those might be for the collision, in fairness. But still, even Stevens, as you like, going through. And Leon has not got that DRS. Tero's just got to hold on for one last lap. Skyzy's got to hold on for just one more lap, but he's got it under an awful lot more pressure. Konzo just a second in front. He's going to lose out to definitely Slenderman and Skyzy. I don't think he's going to lose it to Larkin. I think they're the same on penalties. And Slenderman is so tight. Here he goes there. Outside now. Can Skyzy hold it? Side by side. Down the main straight. Almost caught together. But it looks like Slenderman's got his nose ahead. Can he convert it? And yes, he can. Manages to take that apex speed. Great move from Slenderman. He moves through. Leon is doing everything in his power to try and get inside Tero's head. If he sees that car closing down on him, he might crack. Who knows? Still just 7/10 in it. Hairpin. Tero nice and clean. He's just looking to try and grab some traction on the exit there and keep the Williams at bay. Leon is too far back, I think, if he wants to make a move. So it looks like he'll have this one. The Red Bull, he has been pushed to his limits here in these last few laps, but when he's needed to find the answers, he has. Leon, half a second back. Can he do it? He's in hot lap, he's in overtake, but he's low on ERS, and that could cost him once again. Is the gap closing? No, it isn't. So, both of them at the absolute limit with ERS. Last corner now. Tero's just got to keep it nice and clean. Onto the brakes. Yellow's in sector 3. Who's off? Don Regime's nice and clean, just checking that. Make sure he holds onto that podium. But it is Tero Racer over the line. He takes the win from Leon. A great duel between these two. Don Regime wide at 130R. But it's not going to matter. He is going to hold on to the podium, I'm pretty sure. With a really calm drive. Kept his head. And he's going to come through. P3 on the road. And just to confirm, P3 in the standing. Slenderman with that last lap overtake on Skyzy gets P4 after that mistake, or getting involved in that incident with Don Regime, which he might not be too happy with. We'll see. Rich jumps Larkin on penalties. Callis ends up getting P9, but on the road, but Iceman jumps him on penalties. And we're just waiting for Josh to come over the line. And the desperately unlucky ILR, who, well, was in that fight, but just got caught up at the wrong time there. You know, an incident that didn't involve him in any sort of way. He ended up getting caught up, so hugely unlucky for the Belgian. As we just wait for him to come round there, 130R. Of course, he has gone for that strategy to get the fastest lap, not for points, just for pride. And I think he's going to get it. Surely, it's going to be an absolutely huge lap. Final turn, he's derated, but up to the line, he does a 29.3, which is actually, you know, I know some drivers that might only be able to go a second quicker than that in quali. So, very impressive stuff from the Renault. And here we go now, the podium. Rebel Man of Tero able to hold on ahead of Leon. So yeah, really good race from those two. Leon tried to put the pressure on, did everything he could in that reverse strategy. But in the end, again, that critical lap 25 that I kept talking about, that ended up making a difference. And in the end, it was the Red Bull Man who would take the victory, narrowly ahead of these two challengers. As we're just gonna confirm the results. There we go. Tero on top by 6/10 over Leon. Don Regime with a really good calm drive under a lot of pressure to take that P3. Slenderman and Skyzy both getting past Konzo. His speeding penalty in the pits ended up costing him in the end. But he did make that brilliant evasive move, so props to him. Rex jumps ahead of Larkin on penalties, another speed penalty that cost the Renault driver. Iceman 9th, Callis running out the top 10. Ali Kendler and Carriage. Josh, they're all your finishers. Josh's AI car, of course, I wouldn't count that too much. Ali Kendler ended up getting fastest lap without a surprise, and everyone else not quite able to finish the race. So that's going to round everything up then. That was a very enjoyable race to commentate on. Hopefully I've not done too bad of a job. Certainly a lot of fun for me, for sure. But that's going to wrap everything up then. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. I certainly enjoyed commentating. And yeah, that's going to wrap it up. So yeah, see you guys later.